Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. I've got a really special person here today. What name do you want me to use? The last name? It's on your Facebook now, Lauren. Which one are we going by?
You can call me Lauren Jane Miles. You can call me Lauren Miles.
Okay. This is so we met in Mastermind that her husband and her were a part of. I'm going to start this off right. We're going to do it right. You're a mom, first of all, very important for you, a real estate investor, you're an agent, so many things that you do. You're writing a blog I've read, which is amazing as well. So I'll let you tell the audience kind of where you want to start, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Wow, where to start? So yes, Austin and I met in a mastermind group that we were part of a couple years ago now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And very quickly realized that he's super driven and super social, which is amazing and an inspiration for those of us who are introverts. And yeah, since then, there's been so much happen. It's hard to know what to actually talk about. So I'm happy to open up about anything that you want to delve into. He's right. I'm a mom.
Yeah. You're in what I love. I didn't even know this till I saw yesterday how long have you and Todd been together?
Todd and I met when we were 11. We started dating when we were little baby teenagers, and it's been 22 years. Congrats.
I mean, that makes my heart sing.
Yes, it's been an interesting journey for sure. But
okay, I'm gonna let you go. I just saw that and I was so taken aback. I was like, you don't see that anymore, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a rarity, especially for people our age, because we're really not that old. But yes, I am a mom. I have known my husband since we were little. I have 4 awesome kids. I have been on a journey learning to really love myself and embrace who I am. And out of that space, these avenues have come that you're mentioning. I've wrote a book that'll be out later this year. I've started a blog. I am establishing a virtual assistant business to help entrepreneurs take care of some of the things that they don't necessarily prefer to take care of. And I'm a full-time mom. I was homeschooling my kids up until this coming year. They're going to go to school if school, goes. So I'm happy to talk about anything and everything. I work in real estate. We have rental properties. I manage those properties. I also have my real estate license to help friends and family with their real estate needs. So I feel like I have my hands all over the place, but I really am passionate about embracing ourselves fully and loving who we are and helping people understand that out of that space is where you draw the power to do what you want to do and embrace your life fully. So.
1,000%. When we talked the first time, that's where we really connected. But I guess where I'd like to go is like, so you sound like me, you got a lot going on, but I guess let's start back before the kids. Like, let's start like when you were, have you always done real estate, or were you doing something different back then?
No, actually I haven't always done real estate. My husband and I got into real estate kind of out of seeing the opportunity to recognize some sort of passive income. We wanted to be able to invest in real estate, have some rentals, set our children up for later in life, set us up for later in life, having more passive income. And he actually started investigating that side of things before I did, and we purchased a couple rental properties and they went pretty well, and recognized that, hey, I could get my license and that would save us money, and then I could help other clients do similar things. And so real estate became something that I was drawn to out of necessity for what we were trying to do, but I do really enjoy lots of different aspects of it. So it's something, probably the last 7 years that I've been into more professionally. Yeah.
And I guess my biggest question is how do you get everything done in a day? If you're homeschooling, you're an agent, you're writing books, you're like, that's, every time I coach people, they're like, I don't have enough hours, I don't have enough hours to work out. I don't have enough hours to do this. And I'm like, it's all bullshit. Like, it's just this. So explain to the audience how and it's not perfect. I think that's what I love about how transparent you are, is that you do deal with ups and downs, and you're happy to share them. And I think that's why you resonate so well with me, because me too, alcoholism, drug addiction, all that kind of stuff. So, talk about how you get everything done in a day with all those kids and everything that you have going on.
That's an awesome question. And I get that a lot because, there are so many marbles on the table, right? And you kind of are pushing them forward all simultaneously. But inevitably, there are things that you may pause on for a second to give more attention to something that needs it in that moment. And I think a good thing that's helped me is to recognize I can't do it all in one day, but I can set myself up with blocks of time and a schedule so that I can make sure that I'm working towards all of the goals that I have. Even if that means that I'm moving a little more slowly, I'm diversified and everything's moving forward. As far as items I'm working on business-wise, that works really well, obviously. And, relationships don't always work that way. So sometimes there's something that demands your attention immediately. And I think that that's the space where it's the easiest to get off balance, is recognizing and being flexible to say, okay, I can put this on hold for a second because I need to focus on this aspect of what's happening in my life relationally or emotionally or spiritually, whatever it is. There's things that are less concrete and tangible to work on, and allowing yourself grace and flexibility to embrace what you need to when you need to. And that was the biggest thing for me, was allowing grace, planning, and being flexible.
And before you and your husband joined the mastermind that we met at, were y'all searching for, or were y'all already doing personal development? Is there something that you were searching for or working on that has shifted? Because I've watched you grow, over the last couple of years, exponentially, right? And who you are as a person and your comfortableness of, loving yourself. So were you already headed down that path before the mastermind, or was the mastermind kind of the jump start to that?
Yeah, so I had always been interested in personal development. I think that I was definitely living in a fog of how I viewed myself and the world. And I had started.
Just so we can go deep on it, how did you view yourself?
Oh, that's tough.
I know, but that's what people want to hear, because because the only way they can truly grow is understanding that they're not the only one in it.
Absolutely. I love that. And there's actually, at the beginning of my book, there's a paragraph that just goes into my bottom, and my bottom was, being suicidal. I just did not love myself. I did not think that I was worth loving. I didn't think that I was capable. I was very much going through the motions, and on the outside, people were like, you're so awesome. You're a great wife. You're a wonderful mom. And I could recognize that I could do a good job, but the way that I felt about myself was really, really just devastating. It's
a loop, right? And you can't close the loop. And
right.
and people don't understand, one of the things I somehow have become really good at is picking out negative talk, and like I'll just like stop them right there. And so how did you, I mean, that's heavy. Like, you have kids, you're dying inside, but you're pretty, like you're beautiful, you're in shape, and like you're buying real estate. So, hey, life's great. Like, you should be happy. But how did you kind of like how did you make the shift?
Yeah. So, and at the time, I was actually 60 pounds heavier than I am now. So I had eating issues, just across the board. Almost any kind of self-worth issue played itself out in my day-to-day. And I had a moment of realization in my lowest point where I kind of was able to see what was going on and recognize that I couldn't go on like that. I guess that's why they call it a bottom, because you can't go any lower. I can't do this anymore. This isn't working. I have to figure out what's going on, and I have to make sure that I am taking care of that. And honestly, I had that realization, and I immediately went to work. This was before the mastermind, shortly before, and read a book that I love and was amazingly helpful, The Miracle Morning. And it gave me some tools to implement so that I could really start listening to what was going on and begin the healing process. And that was the tipping point for me. I really started adhering to giving myself time and space in the morning and saying no and having boundaries, building those for myself for what was good for me, not just being a never-ending source for others who I love, and I love to serve. And I think you know that about me. Like, I will help you. I will give you the shirt off my back. But now I'm able to say, hey, but I need to take care of me too. And I started transitioning and things started happening. So I started committing to my goal to have quiet time and listening to what was going on. I committed to exercising the way that I needed to in the moment, and changes really started to happen. I started hearing the way I was speaking to myself and worked on that, and recognized that although I had worked out for my whole adult life, no real change happened until I started to love who I was in that moment. And that's when everything shifted. And that was, getting up and looking in my eyes in the mirror in the morning and saying, you're beautiful and you're worthy and you are loved and valuable and you are a treasure, and just speaking all those good things to yourself. And, I convinced myself that I was, and now there's no going back.
I think it's very important to note, because this is the same thing I tell my clients about money. Perfect example. You can work out every day, but if you truly don't believe it, you can search for money every day, but it's not until you turn the focus on yourself and truly love yourself will your body start shifting. Like, I haven't talked about it much, but I just went through a divorce, and my buddy out in LA, who is one of my best friends, Sal from M1, he said that the reason that you haven't lost weight in your stomach is because you're stressed from a bad marriage. And sure enough, it's been 40, 60 days, and I've lost all the weight in the stomach. And so, and by the way, guys, I Ironman train, so like 3 hours a day. It's not like I'm not working out. But it's amazing to me, right? The releases that are stuck in our body are holding us back. But what you're talking about with the Miracle Morning, and what I was talking about with my buddy that I was working out this morning, is it's not about what you do every day. It's more about doing it and just creating those daily habits of positivity. And then you build on top of those. And that's what happened to you. Like, when you started working out and started feeling better about yourself and started digging into personal development, did the negative thoughts, did the suicidal thoughts slowly go away, or was it is that a process as well?
Honestly, I had one of those moments where immediately things shifted. I had been digging and searching for so long that when I found these principles to implement, and I did, immediately something shifted. Immediately, I had quit drinking, which had been something that was creating issues in my life. I recognized this is serving me in no way. I don't need or want that in my life anymore. And, there weren't, slip ups or I have one here. It's been 2 years, the 4th of July, since I've had a drink, and I don't miss it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's just been, yes, creating those habits and building on those. And I talk to women specifically about working out often, because women do want results, but they don't want to waste their time. And what you're saying about habits is a big thing. And when I recommend to them, okay, for the first week, I want you to put on your shoes at the same time every day. And that's it, and just creating those habits and building on those so that you have the consistency is what's much more important than, I'm going to hit this hard and I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours a day. And then a week later, what usually happens is you are exhausted and you don't feel well, and it's overload, and then, like you're saying, you're in a loop, so you feel like you can't, and then you don't, and then you punish yourself. And so creating ways that you can succeed was something that was huge for me and seems to be the most helpful to anyone that I help in any of those areas, and that applies to business as well. So if you want to get into real estate and investing, pick up the phone the same time every day. Create that habit of just doing the things, and success comes from loving yourself and being committed to the process.
My coaching clients are not allowed to coach with me unless they work out, and it has nothing to do with the working out. The working out, if you are in a rut or you are not where you need to be, it's the quickest way to small positive wins. And it doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 15 minutes, but at least you're deciding that you're enough to give yourself that permission for that time. And what I think me and you have to deal with is the exact opposite. Like the other day I was in Florida, and I worked out like 2 hours that morning, but the whole day I just sat in bed because I was like, I'm tired. And like the whole day I'm fighting that because it's not my nature, but I gave myself permission to do it. And I felt so good the next day. I was like, I'm really proud of you, Austin. Like, it's cool. Like, and like, I'm listening to how many things you have going on. And I'm like, I would imagine that's a fight from time to time too, where you want to get ahead and you want to do all these things, but what are you telling yourself in those moments that it's okay? Because like you are a mom of like many children, and you are a wife, but you do want to grow your business because you want to help people, So like, do you struggle with creating boundaries, just kind of like to dial it down a little bit?
Yes, I do. Actually, that's something that Todd and I talk about a lot is, okay, we're going to plan this day or this time, and we're going to not work on any of the business items. We are going to do something fun with the kids, or like you said, lay in bed and just read, or do something that's rejuvenating to us. Go in nature, go for a walk. We also enjoy foraging for, food, and going for hikes. And so, anything that really causes you to feel refreshed, which can look different for everyone, we have to schedule that time. Otherwise, like you're saying, I could work all the time and never be done. And I know you could too, but making sure that we take time intentionally. And sometimes I hit a season where it really is just a season of I have to work pretty much constantly. It has to be followed by a season of rest, whatever that looks like. So if it's not a weekly day or a few hours, there are seasons. And like yesterday, I had a lot of meetings, a lot of things going on. And then, at 6 o'clock, I had told my son, I'm going to play with you in the sprinkler. Yes, I am. And so and that might sound kind of cold, but making dates with my kids to make sure that their wants and the way that they need me to show up as their mom is not being overlooked, because that's something that I take more seriously than anything. And that allows them to look forward to it, me as well. But yes, the struggle is very real, to take it easy and not feel lazy,
Well, where that sits in, right? Where that sits. That's just deep rooted, because you're not 100% there on self-love,
Yeah.
and that's where that's at. And it's one of the greatest things, like a high performance coach told me in a workshop. We did the whole workshop for like 3 months. And this was his parting words to me, and it changed my life. He said, Austin, if you don't ever realize that there's nowhere to get, you'll never be happy.
Wow. Yeah.
There's always another real estate deal. There's always another deal. There's always another book you could write. There's always another sentence to write. There's always another thing. What I'm dealing with right now, and I think this will hit home to you, a lot of young kids, because I coach a lot of young kids, they live their life off of scoreboards. Like, I made true story, because I just got off the coaching call with him. He was making 600 cold calls a day, right? And I told him, I said, I read a sales book that said that if you had 40 clients, there's 5 people that give you all your deals, 80% of your deals. I said, stop calling 600 people a day, write a list of 20 people that do your deals. And he's only focused on that for 3 months or 3 weeks. He's closed 6 deals in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm working less. I'm happy. He's like, I take my dogs for a walk. There is a correlation. If you're building for legacy and you're building for who you wake up and be every day, there's no rush to get anywhere.
Sure.
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Have you read the book by Simon Sinek?
I think Tim Rowe just suggested to me that last week, so I need to pick it up. Yeah.
It's really good. I'm not done with it, but it speaks on things like what you're saying. If you're building a legacy, you're building a business to stand the test of time. You're not competing with your competition. You're just improving yourself and doing it from a place of, again, like, to do the best, to be quality, and our lives have to be lived the same way. But it's definitely a good word that the feelings of laziness when you're allowing yourself to rest definitely come from a performance-aholic.
And I'll share this with you. And I've decided that I'm going to start sharing a little bit of it, because I'm living in it right now, and because I feel comfortable with you and we get along well. So I'll share it with you. The feelings of getting laid off and getting divorced and all this stuff, whatever they're going to call all these feelings, right? Moving across the country and everything. In the past, I would have done things, which was Netflix, drinking, whatever the hell it was, to avoid it, right? And instead, I allowed myself to cry. I allowed myself to be upset. I allowed myself to sit in it, right? And because I sat in it and noticing my triggers and what triggers me and stuff like that, and there's 2 people in my life that can trigger me, and make me go to the old me. Because I sat in it and let it wash over me and deal with it, it no longer has control over me. And I made peace with it. So instead of holding it for 20 years, I sat in it, right? And I think that's a powerful thing that everybody wants to do. Distractions. They want, instead of looking in the mirror and saying this is real. I am upset today. It's not a great day, but tomorrow's going to be better. And I think people take things that happen to them, let's say an hour, something happens to you and it's a bad hour. Oh, it's a shitty day. Well, was it? Or was it the hour really shitty? Right. That is a powerful statement, to realize that, you might not have a great day at work, or you might not have got done what you've done, But that 2 hours to go play in the splash pad with your kids is everything. Like, that's all that matters, right? And so, like, that's what I hope people understand by this conversation, is that by distracting yourself, by hiding in your fears, by hiding in the things that you're hiding in the closet in your mind, it controls you even more than you think.
Yeah, that totally resonates with me, and that's so true because, you know, I think one of the keys to success in my life has been recognizing in moments where, you know, it feels like I'm a failure for whatever reason, whether it's relationally or job related or as a parent, or, you know, it really doesn't matter. If I am recognizing in that moment that, one, I'm not a failure just because I go through hard things, and two, that as long as I'm learning something from this and continuing to do my best, I'm succeeding. And that's been really helpful for me. And we live in a society, like you were talking about your divorce, where, you know, it's easy for people going through a divorce to feel like you failed, right? Like, I committed to this thing and it didn't work for whatever reason, and I'm a failure. And, you know, the reality is that all things end, you know, like a marriage is going to end, whether one person outlives the other, whether you decide to consciously uncouple and go your separate ways. So many things can happen, but if we're caught up in the result as opposed to just enjoying the moment and enjoying our day-to-day life, we're missing the point. You know, enjoying the journey and learning to enjoy the journey was a big one for me because I'm very results driven, and learning to do my best and enjoy the journey and love every moment that I'm living. You know, I don't have to, you say all the time, to be divorced from the results, but like, there's this thing that you say, like, you're showing up.
Married to the process, divorced from the results.
Yes. And that sums that up so well, right? Because you're doing your best, you're committed to doing your best in all these areas, and the result really is what it is, because everything's not up to just us, you know. And sometimes, honestly, if it were left all up to me, the end result may be not what's best for me, you know. So
that's powerful.
I'm kind of glad to be able to say, hey, I'm going to show up and be my best self. Mm-hmm. That's my.
You'll love this. So my new assistant, he sent me a text and he said, I promise I'm going to show up. I don't want to let you down. And I said, I appreciate that, but I'm going to let you in on a secret. You could never let me down because I don't have any expectations of you. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, because all I ask is that you show up every day and be the best version of yourself. And if you do that, good, bad, or indifferent, we're good. Because if you don't want that for yourself, how can I want that for you? And so by detaching myself from expectations of a meeting, of whatever thing, you know, I just did a podcast on this a couple Wednesday rants ago about absolutes. You know, everybody lives their life on absolutes, right? But by saying this is the only thing that should happen my entire life, you ruin creativity, you ruin wonder, you ruin being surprised, right? I have clients who I tell them to be spontaneous, and they're like, I'm going to schedule my spontaneous. And I was like, I don't think you know what the word means. I'm like, I don't think you understand what the word means. Like, you know, and the thing is that what I noticed from you, and maybe you can elaborate on this and kind of help people. How do you become present when you are so driven as me and you are? Like, how do you, and it's not perfect, it never is, but like, how do you at least take time? Because I noticed just from the outside in that you're fucking happy right now. Like, and it may not always be perfect, but like, you're fucking happy. And like, we're a long ways away. And by the way, I don't care if Todd gets mad, you look amazing. Like, I'm like, I see pictures and I'm like, damn, like this girl is crushing it with all these kids. So sorry, Todd. But but what I'm saying is like we're a long ways away from 60 pounds overweight, suicidal. So let's talk about how you got here and how you're being present and enjoying every day.
Yeah, that's like you said, it's all a journey, and it's never going to be perfect. And I'm laughing as you're talking about what you're saying to your clients. I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing because that used to be me.
Yeah.
I was so legalistic, and I needed to feel in control of whatever I actually could control, because I was so out of control internally. And, actually, Todd used to tell me, be more spontaneous. And I, at one point, said, "You're never allowed to say that word to me again." It's become a curse word in my house. And so, yes, I can resonate with wanting to plan your spontaneity. And I think that definitely on my journey, the more that I just really get honest with myself about me and how I'm showing up, but also letting go to allow everyone else in my life or not in my life, in the world, to make their own decisions on what's right or okay for them. That has, like you said, relieved expectation and given me the freedom to show up unapologetically, being my best self, and able to allow others to be who they are, and recognizing I really am only in charge of me. I really am only in charge of my words and my actions. I can't control what anyone else hears from me, and I am going to continue to do my best. And the introspection, taking that time to be quiet and, like you were saying earlier, sit with myself, like sit in my mess and say, "Ooh, whoa, I'm feeling really judgmental. Where is that coming from?" Because for me, when I act in ways that I know are not consistent with who I am, and I'm a loving, creative, encouraging human, that's a red flag for me, that something's going on, and I need to check in with myself and find what's happening. Am I hurting? Did I have an expectation that's unrealistic? Did I put so much pressure on myself that I set myself up for failure? What is it? And so making sure that I have time to check in with myself is when I was able to start asking those tough questions, and then being honest with yourself and saying, some of the relationships that I care the most deeply about have gotten to a point where, I have to not really interact with them. And that's such a tough thing. But at the same time, knowing that, like, I'm going to love you still, but I'm going to have to do it with a little bit of distance, because that's best for both of us. And that's just, it takes a lot of being really honest with yourself. And I think that when you create this space and you're honest with yourself, that's where it all kind of starts to blossom. You start to realize, hey, this may be okay for you. It's not okay for me, and that's okay. But that means that our relationship has to have this boundary. And I think that just learning who you are, and I unfortunately had to start learning who I really was, married with 4 kids, and, anyone who's younger that, is watching this, listening to this, that's out there in the universe, just learn to love yourself and be happy with you, and everything will come out of that place. I really believe that.
All right. So a couple things. One, get out of my head. Second thing is, literally, I'm going through the same thing right now. I'm going to jump in a chair and I'm going to let you coach me for a little bit. But here's the deal. First of all, I'm saying it on air. Why don't we talk every week? Like, this is pissing me off that this is like, I'm loving this, but no, you're 100% right. I've got to a point with some people in my life where I'm like, I feel like I'm always the one keeping the relationship alive. And one of the great quotes I ever heard is like, stop watering a plant and see how many weeds you've been watering for how long. Like my buddy said to me, like, why would you jump over an ocean for somebody when they won't even jump over a puddle for you?
Yeah.
You know? And
right.
I have people, true story, it doesn't happen often, but I have people that ask me when I'm going to drink again. And my mentor's like, who the fuck are these people and why are you even talking to them? Right. Like what a ridiculous, like that doesn't even make sense. And so I'm really getting to an age, I'm about to be 39, I'm getting to an age where there's certain relationships that I'm with you. I love you. I respect you. Like we're friends, but I just can't do this anymore because you're full of excuses. It's always negativity. There's enough bad shit going on in the world that I choose to surround myself 100% positivity at all times, because the way that you look at this world, the way that you wake up every day is really how you see it. Right. And, you know, by surrounding yourself with people that don't support that, it's exhausting. So true story, guys. True story. Internet went out. So we'll just get back after it. And the great thing is I have an amazing team that'll make it look like it never happened, but we'll just tell you what really happened. Blah, blah, blah. So what I was saying is that by being around negative people, you know, and here's the hard part. A lot of the times it's family, like, and you love them, but like in full disclosure, like I've had like really hard time with this because there's part of me that feels obligated because they are family. But then I'm like, you're about to be 39. Like, do you need this shit? You know? And like, my coach is like, dude, for once in your life, like, just do you. Like, and I'm like, hey, here's my response. You can do that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I would imagine, I think we've talked about this. I would imagine when you and Todd started digging into personal development and you stopped drinking, there was a little pushback from a lot of friends and family, right?
Yeah, you know, I think one of the reasons that it seems to happen so often with family is because we do have expectations from them because they're our family. And that's something that I've dealt with some members of my family, and recognizing, one, I had the same response that you did when I don't remember the moment that or how it dawned on me that like, oh, just because we share blood doesn't mean that we have to do life together, so intertwined. And I was like, wait, what? That's an option? But that's the reality is I recognized in some of those relationships, I definitely was having expectations because we were family and wanting them to show up a certain way, and coming back to myself and saying, what's my expectation here? What can I control in this situation? And that's only me. And what boundaries do I need to make sure that I'm okay with me? And unfortunately, that results oftentimes in having a very different relationship than I would want with some people that I really love. And I just have to be okay with that, you know, because like you're saying, stop watering the plant and see how many weeds you've been watering. I mean, you can't make a relationship look the way that you would love for it to look, because a relationship is more than just you.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.